Hi, and welcome to the Investing on a 9 to 5 podcast. I'm Paul.
And I'm Teddy. We are excited that you are joining our show, Investing on a 9 to 5, where we will talk about our investment journey, our current strategies, and learn about all kinds of investing related topics. But before we dive in, we are not financial advisors. We will not be held liable for any personal investing decisions or losses that you may occur in the market. This page is purely for entertainment purposes only.
Cool.
Yeah, man. What's going on?
Not much, man. It's been a minute. You had your trip. We had Mother's Day come up, so it's been a while since we've had a chance to get down and chat. I want to hear about the conference. What went on there? Can you talk?
Yeah.
Whether you're not sworn to secrecy.
Secrets? No, none really secrecy about it. It was very, very open and collaborative. It was great to finally put some faces to names and basically just talk stocks and nerd out over stocks all weekend, while we were there presenting. And, it was cool. Brad Thomas was there. Another guy goes by the name Swan. He runs Black Box, which is an options platform for basically 9 to 5ers like you and I. And they have this huge platform, man, where it's basically like, I call it it's like way better. It's a better version than a Discord, I would say. But it's the same type of structure, but they have professional analysts and some traders from Schwab and TD Ameritrade. Now that's what they do now as their full-time, gig. And yeah, they have classes and they lay it all out for, options traders. They do call outs and show you where to get into trades. They have really deep information on the black pool. It's a really cool platform. I think it's about $100 a month, but I mean, it sounds like it's a lot, but when you're playing options, man, you can make
you can make that double in one trade.
Yeah, you can make that in like 30 minutes. So, really cool platform. And like I said, Brad was there doing a really deep analysis, on his REIT, REIT platform. And yeah, man, it was really cool. Brad really has a lot of deep knowledge on REITs. It's pretty cool to see. And he's really big on O. So I picked up some.
Well, yeah, who isn't? If you're not in O, are you even a REIT investor?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like everybody owns O. So, yeah, it was good to see like that deep dive and get his output on or input on realty income. Cause I mean, it's really just, if you really look at it, it's just a monthly paying dividend stock that grows, which is solid, but there's always conversations of, there's better stocks out there that pay you, but you don't get that monthly.
You get the same kind of thing with SCHD. Like I've heard breakdowns of SCHD where they look at the 100 stocks that it holds and other ETFs that maybe have more diversity, more stocks, not as dependent on things like oil and Apple. But when you get down to it, you can't really replace that feeling of comfort, right? O has been solid for years. Is more than likely going to stay solid for years. You probably can get a better return from another company or another stock, but you don't have that warm, fuzzy feeling that it's everyone's in O. It's not very volatile. It doesn't move huge numbers throughout the day or even weeks or months. It's pretty stable, just kind of up and to the right. SCHD to me is kind of that same thing. It's not this huge thing that's going to go, it's not going to be a 10 bagger or a 5 bagger, but it's going to track along and it's going to just continue. I saw your little tweet with someone about SPY or the S&P 500 and SCHD, and it may diverge at some points, but in the long run, it's not supposed to be a substitute for the SPX. It's not designed to be that way. It's only 100 stocks in the SCHD. So to compare it to SPY is not really fair because you're not doing apples to apples.
No, nope. I mean, and with SCHD, the past year, look at the market itself. You can't really judge it off of the past year. Cause the market itself has been,
Yeah. The bottom line is SCHD is on sale. You're not going to get it this price again until we have another huge sell off, which at that point, if you're a long-term investor, you're just going to buy more like Stan does.
Exactly.
You're just going to hold through and then buy more when it drops.
Yeah.
It'll depend on your style and what your temperament is for investing.
Exactly. And the thing is, the more research that you do, you'll continuous to see SCHD or companies that pay dividend will outperform the S&P 500.
Did Brad give any input or outlook as far as what he thinks are going to happen in the REIT market as rates continue to either go up and down or that changes?
He said if rates go up anymore, we're screwed.
Yeah.
That was in quote.
That makes sense. I see it because that's what I mean. That's the challenge of REITs is they're heavily dependent on borrowing. So
Yeah.
when the rates go up, the cost of money goes up, and that's a challenge for the REITs. So.
Yes. And that's another thing too, where you can go and take a look at how diversified you are in REITs to make sure that the REITs that you are purchasing aren't really affected by high interest rates or by consumers with the recession and things like that. So being diverse will also take away that your worry of high interest rates and things like that when it comes to the market being underperforming like it is right now. But yeah, that was the conference. I mean, and we went to and Nick. Oh my God,
Oh yeah.
Nick's presentation was amazing. Can't forget about my man Nick. Shout out to Nick. Yeah, shout out to his family. His 2 daughters for there. They say I'm their favorite investor. They're buying Hershey's now. So shout out to my girls out there. But yeah, his presentation was very, very inspirational. I saw his portfolio from top down to bottom, and it's very, very diversified. This past week he took the opportunity to get a lot of more SCHD. I think he's up to like 93 or like 95 shares right now. So he's almost to that 100 share marker. But just hearing his life story and hearing how he started and where he's at now just only really just motivated me to really kick it into extra gear, to be where he's at, and then to be where Dave's at, and then then you see Brad there as well. Right. So you're just seeing different levels at the conference. Everyone's at a different lifestyle, and we've all started and we're all invested in the same company. So the only thing you need is time and consistency.
I like this group that we've met, between you and I, relatively new, Nick, relatively new, then you've got Brad Thomas, who's he's on the pinnacle. Dave Greta, our buddy out there, he's got his experience and time in there. And Sandstone, we met a lot of people who they're running that gamut, and at the same time, we're in it together to help each other and really support each other. There's no caste system, there's no classism at all. I'm not going to talk to you. You've only got a $5,000 account. Ooh, you're below me. There's none of that, which is really awesome with these people.
No, because portfolio one day can be 10%, 20% more the next day or less. So, it's the more so it's not how, it's not how you start. It's all how they're going to finish with this. So hold on one second.
No, they're good. He's got to calm the dogs down.
Shout out to my man Ace. We got a new guy.
Oh yeah?
New divvy dog Ace. I got to send you a picture. I'll send you a picture of him. I thought I did. But I tweeted it out when we got him. But
that's cool.
Yeah, I think 7 months.
A little energetic.
Yes, no, little Frenchy guy who wants to play all day. So that's what he's doing. He's just barking at new big bro. Like, hey man, play with me.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, but no, group that we have, and I feel like it's going to continue to grow. It also showed that we were serious about getting the conference together and actually showing up. And actually doing it
and pulling it off.
I feel it'll only motivate others and all of our other listeners out there the next time, when we plan this out, that we would like to see more, investors show up just so we can get more collaboration and help each other out on the journey. I mean, face to face is way better, than, tweeting it out or, doing the, Google Meets and Zoom calls and stuff like that.
There's a certain level of, when you meet somebody, you attain a certain level of trust. You're not just some random name on the internet throwing out things. You get to meet them face to face. You get to get an idea of their sense, their person. So there's a whole nother level of knowledge there. So that's cool.
Oh yeah, yep. And then we hit the Chicago Cubs game. Me, Dave, and my boy John. Shout out to my guy John. He came over from Michigan.
Awesome.
And then came over to show some support. And then we hit the Cubs game. And met I have another friend I went to college with, played baseball with him, Ira. He lives in Chicago, and he was like 10-minute, 15-minute walk from Wrigleyville. So he was like, yeah, man, I'll meet you guys down at the bar after the game. So
sweet.
That's cool. It was a good time. Good times.
Well,
so what's been going on? Yeah, what's been going on with you, man? You got fill us in. I know Amazon has been hot.
It's been good. So I've gotten over that. So the challenge, and it's anything, it's basically at its core, it's a retail shop, right? So the challenge with any retail shop is sales. You got to have sales. That's how you generate your money, right? I'm not relying on the market. I'm not relying on dividends.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to the Amazon side of things, it's having the inventory. It's if your stuff isn't there in your shop for Amazon to sell it, you can't sell it, obviously.
Right.
And you can get really good and consistent with things, but just not making a lot of money if you don't have a lot of stuff to sell. So I'm finally kind of getting over that hump where I'm actually getting some inventory in. The first couple of sourcing, that's what they refer to it. Sourcing is like, going out and finding stuff to sell, buying it, getting it sent to you, prepping it, and getting it sent to Amazon. My first round of getting that stuff done was really a learning experience. It's kind of like when you're investing, right? You start looking at stocks to buy. Oh, this looks good. You buy it, you realize you missed a certain metric that made it not a good buy, and all of a sudden it tanks, and so now you're losing money. Oh, I learned my lesson on that one. I'm not gonna make that mistake again. So I've gone through that with products. I'm finding things like, oh, this looks like it's going to sell well, and then I buy it, and I realize that there was something I missed that I should have looked into deeper as far as in our data goes that we use. And so I'm kind of getting over that hump. The stuff I've been buying lately, I feel really, really confident about, and that's kind of proven back to me. Now, my first sale for Amazon overall was March 3rd.
Okay.
So in March, I did just under 3,000 in revenue. That's revenue. That's not sales. That's not income. That's total revenue, right?
Total revenue.
So March, I had a good pop, I had a few good things, but then I kind of got sloppy in what I was buying and selling in. April, I dropped down to below $2,000 in revenue. So now, I'm learning my lesson. I'm kind of figuring out what I did wrong. So now here we are. Today is the 21st of May. So I have another 10 days or so left in the month, and I'm at over 3,000 in revenue for this month alone, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Year to date, a little over $8,000 in total revenue. But I'm working on.
I remember you were like, yeah, what was it? You made your first 1,000?
Yeah. So I'm working toward just making better buying decisions that are going to turn out to be higher revenue on the other end.
Okay.
And, that's the struggle now. So I'm working through that. There's Discord groups, and there's other, groups that I'm a part of where I have resources and people who you can, the same things we do in Twitter world. Hey, I'm looking at SCHD. What are the pros and cons about SCHD? And then you'll get people come at you with their ideas. So that, with the different Discords and different people I'm a part of, you can put a little product up that you're thinking about buying and get some feedback from them. And they'll say, oh, it looks like, different, watch out for this, or that looks good, or, so different feedback. So I'm using those resources to make better buying decisions, and it's paying off so far. So
that's awesome, dude.
My ultimate goal is right now is to be making 10,000 in revenue per month. So I have a long ways to go, but there's a guy I'm working with who's as kind of a coach, and he said, based on this on May, I've had a couple of days that were close to $300 days in revenue. Okay. And he says, you just need, a string along a few $300 days, and you're hitting 10 grand, no problem. So that's just kind of the math of it. So I'm working toward that. That's my update. It's going well. I'm still excited about it. It's still my long-term goal to make that my full-time income, and I'm working toward it.
Heck yeah, dude. I mean, you're right there, almost to 10K in Amazon.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So the other day
has already started. So
it's on its way.
And you're, like I said, you're plugging yourselves into the right group. I was saying that since day one. You haven't texted me and was like, "Hey, man, I have wasted energy on Amazon. I feel like I've wasted time." You haven't said that not one time, because you're plugging yourself into the right places with the right people. They're doing the right things with it. So that's good decision making already on your end, business.
The biggest thing I see from people who are looking at, and you see it on Twitter, you see it in these Discords, are people asking these questions: Is it ever oversaturated? Is there already too many people out there who are selling? And the answers I've seen have been from people who are still in it, saying no, it's not oversaturated. So I can see if you get into it and you get in a bad run where you buy a lot of bad stuff that doesn't sell, or you get into there's companies out there that will, once you start selling them, they scan Amazon for people who are selling their products. And if they don't feel like they have certain people who are authorized distributors, and if you're not one of them, they'll send you what's called an IP complaint, intellectual property complaint. They're basically send you a little cease and desist letter saying you're not authorized to sell our stuff, please stop. So you have to pull your stuff. So there's these speed bumps out there with that. If you get on a bad run where you get IP complaints, bad choices in selling, and you have a few months where you just don't do well, most people are going to pull out. They're going to say, this isn't for me. So you have a lot of people. The barriers to entry are very low. You can get started with very, very little money. Maintaining a business and making it grow takes capital, takes money, takes time, takes, the same as stocks. You're going to have to buy some dogs, you have to sell some at a loss and learn your lessons and come back stronger. And then you'll you'll start seeing the companies that are making money, that are going to be returning well, and you're going to buy those stocks. It's the same
in that process right now. Got a story to tell exactly on something like that. It's pretty funny you mentioned that.
Well, let's go. Let's hear your story.
Oh, no. Go ahead. Finish.
No, that's all I had to say. I mean, once the people who don't get through that morass of bad decisions are the ones who fall out. They're the ones who are saying it's oversaturated. They're the ones who are saying you can't make any money on Amazon because of a few bad decisions or a few bad luck plays that happen that went against you. They're the same people who get into stocks. They make a couple of buys, they lose the money, and then they say, screw it. Now, you can't make any money in the stock market. That's only the people who are in the know can make money. They don't take the time to get in the know. So I'm not saying that I'm in the know. I'm not saying I'm hugely successful. I'm just saying I have this understanding that if I keep pushing forward and I keep trying to learn and make better decisions in the future, then I will be successful in the end. So I'm not claiming to be there at all because I'm still learning, but I see the path forward and I know that I can follow it and I can hop over the speed bumps. I can run around the walls that come up and just make it to the promised land.
Hey, now you're talking GOAT status over there, Paul. Talking GOAT status. No, you're absolutely hitting it right on the head with that, because I'm experiencing that right now in my portfolio where MPW. We might as well just go ahead and say, yeah, you can chalk it up. They didn't cut the dividend, so at least I got out of there before that happened. But I feel like the company's just spinning tires. Wall Street doesn't like it. It's flashing signs. It flashed signs of, here and there that it's performing, and then it'll go back down. And I'm like, nah, I'm just not liking the boat ride anymore. I'm just over it. So with me continuously being in the market, instead of just giving up, found VIXI. I now think, after looking at all these real estate companies, because I love REITs, you guys know that, VIXI is possibly I'm thinking the best REIT that's out there right now.
Awesome.
I've been loading the boat on them.
What are you basing that on?
A week. Off of their acquisitions.
Oh, okay.
Got acquisitions, and then you got the Oakland A's coming out to Vegas. You got all of the sports. They got
they had
4 or 5 sports teams
people
out there, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They've got every when the A's get out there, they'll have a representation of every major league sport, I believe.
Yes. Every sport, and I can take a dive into the financial side and the stock too and tell you why to buy. But I'm just telling you what the two eyes are seeing. I mean, they're even billing that one line that's going from San Diego to Vegas. Like I've said that too, and they just acquired another company this past week. Some gaming companies in Canada. They're expanding internationally.
I heard about that.
So yeah, and the free cash flow is growing. Dividend growth is growing. Solid yield. What's 4% yield? Beautiful. And casino and gaming is never going anywhere as long as humans are walking this earth.
Sounds good. I'm excited for you. Was that your MPW money you flipped over into the VIXI?
Yeah, I put some MPW money into VIXI, and then I've just been buying it every week, every other day as possible.
I don't know if it was Brad, but I saw there was a Seeking Alpha article that came out saying MPW is done until they get all their tenants set up and scheduled and figure out who's going to pay and who's going to sue them. It's just not. Why be in a thing that's just going to spin wheels for months and months and months?
Just spinning tires, like Joe Dirt said. You guys ever watched that movie, Joe Dirt?
Oh yeah.
He's like, you like those spinning tires there, dude? Yeah, that's me and MPW, man.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's all part of it. There's people out there who bought MPW who watched it drop and tank, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, you can't make any money in the stock market, so they're out for good. So.
Right. And I want to get this out on air too. Yeah, I was wrong on MPW, but at the same time, I was also fishing to find other stocks just in case this didn't go well.
For every MPW, there's an Intel.
Yes. Oh man. Intel's been quiet. They've been quiet, but they're quiet, but that's a good quiet because
Right.
it's all been positive news every time they pop up on the screen, you know.
Exactly.
So I'm not really worried.
You made some good moves. You got out of MPW at a good time when you saw them kind of losing their steam. You got into Intel when you thought, okay, people are down on them, but I don't see the reason why. I understand why there's the knee jerk. Yeah, and that's what I think. There's people do what they want to do. To me, there's a mistake being made if you decide just because a company cuts a dividend, you're going to sell out of it. You know, I think you made a good analysis and seeing what they were doing with it, why they were cutting the dividend, what was behind it before deciding whether you're going to stay in or not. So that's good. Everyone's got to make their own decisions on those things, but it's something to look into.
Oh yeah, and I successfully got all of my REITs into my Roth, so now that's where anything real estate is all in the Roth. But everybody should have a Roth. Right. I also found a new stock. Well, it's not a new stock, but it's new to me. But I think it's a great competitor to Realty Income. It's another monthly stock. And the stock is called ADC Realty.
Okay.
They own 1,900 properties. But the reason I like them is because they focus on industry leading retailers who. How the heck did he get through there? Give me one sec. Dude, you got to come back over here. You're smart. Come on.
Real life with the dogs. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
The guy outsmarted me, man. Tried to block him in the living room, and he found a way to get underneath the chair to like go behind the crib. I'm like, oh wow. All right. Here we go. Back to it.
1,900 properties.
Yeah, so they got 1,900 property. They focus on industry leading retailers. So the way they focus on it is you have to. They call it BOPIS, which is buy online, pick up in store locker pickups, and in-store order kiosks. So those are the three those are the three sectors of the companies when they go out and find their companies. Those are the three ways that they have to have their business like based around to basically be in business to make profit. So they have a $6.3 billion market cap, which is great. And their sectors are grocery stores, home improvement, tire, auto, dollar stores, convenience stores, auto parts, consumer electrics like Best Buy, Aldi's, Lowe's, Ulta's. One thing that I liked about them is that they also own some Chick-fil-A's. So if any of you guys like Chick-fil-A out there, I know a lot of you do. ADC owns some Chick-fil-A's. And they pay a monthly dividend income.
They are franchise owners, or they own the real estate?
I think they own the real estate.
Okay.
Of the Chick-fil-A's. So,
right.
But Chick-fil-A basically pays them rent. So we can say Chick-fil-A is one of our tenants.
The McDonald's model, where McDonald's is basically a REIT. That's what I'll always maintain that.
And with them being like tire and auto, Goodyear, tires, like we need tires, home improvement.
Those things are never going away.
Even if the world were to go back to COVID again, that's how I think. That's how we should all think. If we were to be back in the house again and we have to go to a stop, these companies will still keep their doors open. They have a body shop in there called Gerber Collision.
Oh, I know them.
They're in ties with insurance companies.
Yeah,
accidents happens every day, unfortunately. And where do those cars go? More than likely, go through Gerber because that's where insurance companies.
There's 2 or 3 Gerber locations out here.
Bingo. I see them all the time. They're all next to dealerships. They're all across. They're in revenue generating places where customers are consistently going. Because
when we got rear-ended last summer, ended up at Gerber.
Rear-ended. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even when I worked at Enterprise, Gerber is one of their biggest customers for when their customers are needing a car. Yeah. Gerber calls Enterprise, hey, we have a customer here. So that's a continuous business flow there.
Right.
The shops are always pristine, clean, and they keep those shops in tip-top condition. Mm-hmm. So just looking at it from the outside end, an AutoZone too is another
love AutoZone.
Great stock.
Yeah.
So they've really focused on e-commerce, and e-commerce resistance. So like. They're not going to be defeated by an online company like Amazon or anything like that.
Right.
They got strong balance sheet. The 6% 10-year compound annual growth rate, awesome. 4.27 yield monthly. It pays out $2.92 per year. So per share, you would get $2.92. That'll equal out to about 24 cents a share. In their last earnings report, they had a revenue of 126.2 million, which was up 1.6%. They increased that FFO 1%, surprised analysts, and they have 10 years of dividend increases as well, which is beautiful.
That's awesome. That sounds cool. Awesome.
So yeah, ADC, check them out. Let me know what you guys think. I picked up, I think like four shares past couple weeks.
ADC. All right.
ADC. Oh yeah.
Make a note of it here.
And then my next one is CVS. I'm back at it again with CVS. Really? I'm back at it. They're 51% undervalued now, Paul. Target price at $101. This is how CVS is broken down. They do healthcare benefits, healthcare services, pharmacies, and consumer wellness. That's how they make their money. And we all know, like, obviously the retail up front when we go in and need our other, lotion, deodorant, candy.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that. PE ratio, 22.8, 3.4 yield. Payout ratio, 74.9. 5-year payout ratio is at 52.37. 5-year dividend growth rates at 3.9. 10-year dividend growth rate is at 10.4, which are all check marks in my book. Earnings per share is expected to grow 9.31. Let's see, last earnings, they had a revenue growth of 11%. Their earnings per share gap was $1.65. Cash flow from operations was $7.4 billion. One thing that I like about their numbers is obviously they got good cash flow. Their debt levels is really high, but I have a good explanation on that as to what I think could happen at the end. But they have really two good acquisitions is what I really like. They did the Signify Health back in March, and then they just recently did Oak Street Health back in May, or back this month here. And Oak Street Health is like, I think that it's 169 clinics in low income areas. They're based off of like the value of the consumers. And then Signify Health, they had a 12% membership growth rate in Medicare Advantage businesses last year. And they repurchased 22.8 million shares. Let's see. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Earnings per share is fluctuating if you take a look at the EPS. The reason it is fluctuating is because of the financing that it took to acquire Oak Street Health. So right now their numbers look like they're like don't know what's really going on, but they're acquiring these two major health companies that are in low income areas because if you've noticed, CVS's are on every corner like a liquor store.
Yes.
So they're setting up these hubs in different places where if your doctor's office is closed, you can go to a CVS and they actually have an actual doctor there, on site where you can go and get looked at. If you've noticed CVS Park, go ahead.
No, I was going to say they're doing that. They're they're turning themselves from a pharmacy into a health hub. Yes. And they're placing themselves in neighborhoods. I know we use CVS for our kids' pharmacy. And what I like about them is the people who work there, the pharmacists and the pharmacy techs, they're from this area. They take their time to get to know you. Like when I've walked in there before to get a prescription for like my kids and have them say, "Oh, your wife has a new one we just filled. You want to pick that up too?" Like they know you. They know me. So when they walk in there, like, "Oh, who are we picking up for today?" I just got to say my kid's first name and they start bringing it up in the computer. And I'm not from a low income area, but I'm familiar with the demographics of a low income area. And I know that trust is a huge part of in the cultures, right? In the Black culture and the Hispanic culture and the Asian cultures. So being able to go into a health hub, know the person behind the counter, trust that person, and then get medical help from that location is a lot better for them than going to some clinic or someplace where they don't know who's working there and people who they don't recognize. So I think they're really attacking, not only making sure, we get some health education and bringing, preventive care into these communities, but also setting up a trust blanket for these people too, to understand where they're going, that they're seeing people behind the counter, they recognize their familiar faces, and they can feel comfortable getting that help and getting that medicine from them. That's great.
Bingo. I love it. And customer retention is going to play a huge role, and word of mouth marketing is going to play a huge role down because the world is only getting more and more and more populated. So the more people we have, the faster
and older.
and yeah,
and older.
and it's just gonna be a lot of people.
More gray
So
hair.
having these plans in place and strategies, being able to have that trust and customer retention is going to go a long way.
That's awesome. Cool.
Mm-hmm. But with back to the debt, so obviously when we were looking at any business or anything, if it collapses, it's more likely going to happen because of debt. But they have 52 or 58.2 billion dollars in debt, and they're sitting on 17 billion in cash. This is off the latest earning report, so that's about a 40 billion in net that they're in debt as far as money wise. But that's not alerting management that now that does lead to a high payout ratio, obviously, because they're paying that dividend. So obviously, if they could take the dividend and take it towards debt, but they're not going to do that. But that's also going into the financing of the Oak Street Health. Now it's going to be very volatile for a second until that gets settled in, and then that cash flow from there will start to help increase the earnings per share, which they're expected to see in the next 4 or 5 years. Obviously, as healthcare becomes more in need, this will only increase.
Mm-hmm.
So
there you go.
Let's see. Yeah, so that's just one thing we got to make sure we're watching out for, is just the debt levels for the risk. But they grew their EBITDA, which is how fast they're growing their cash flow by 2.4% the last 12 months. That correlates to increasing the free cash flow. So as long as they continue to, as long as that EBITDA continues to, get free cash flow, they've, 3 years, they've produced more free cash flow than their EBITDA. So those are just good little signs that you can go under the financial metric and take a look at and see if the company is slowly starting to perform well and see if it's undervalued or not. But I think CVS is undervalued. I mean, 51%. I looked at it on Yahoo Finance, Stock Rover, and the dividend tracker. I mean, they're all, it's all saying that it's, decently undervalued right now. So take a look at CVS and ADC, guys, for some dividend growth that's undervalued out there for
Good.
sure.
We've got a few minutes left. What I want to do was, so the other day I asked you for your criteria when you look at dividend paying stocks. Remember that text I sent you? I said I'm doing a little experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I've talked about AI obviously quite a bit on here, and Chat GPT is something I use for work and different things. The challenge with Chat GPT is it doesn't scrape the internet live for information. It has a database that goes up to, I think, 2021,
Mm-hmm.
where it collected internet data, and that's what it draws from as far as information goes. Google Bard, on the other hand, does live search. That. Yeah. So Google Bard, if you go to google.com, not Google search, but google.com,
mm-hmm.
there's links in there to get signed up Bard. It's free. You just got to log in with your Google account, and then you have access to it. So what I did was, because it's live internet searching to create its information, I thought, well, let me see what this thing does as far as giving some stock tips. You know what I mean? So I asked you what your criteria was for dividend stocks, and I'm going to share the screen now and show you what Google Bard said. Let me bring it up. I did the search. Share screen. Share this screen. All right, you seeing this?
Yep. Well, okay. Yep. There we go. Now I see it.
So here is what I said. I said, show me the top 10 dividend paying stocks from the United States market based on the following criteria: dividend payout ratio between 30 and 55%, PE max of 25, year-over-year increasing cash flow, and revenue 5-year DGR at least 5%, with a dividend yield between 2 and 5%. Now, this was a few weeks ago when I asked you, when it first gave me this information. Mm-hmm. But ranked them 1 through 10, and here they are. AT&T, dividend yield 5.2, 52% payout ratio, a 10.3 PE, a 5-year DGR of 7.5%, year-over-year cash grow 10.7%, and year-over-year revenue growth of 10.4%. So it ranked them all. So AT&T, Verizon, Johnson & Johnson, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, AbbVie, Procter & Gamble, United Health, Walgreens, and Home Depot. This is when the simple little criteria Google Bard was able to go through. It searches 10Qs, searches earnings reports, it searches the real news, and it brings you the actual stuff. So this is just a little tool out there for you guys when you're looking for something and you want to.
Cool.
Isn't it kind of cool?
Yeah.
So you log in, create your own account, and you can like you said, it's a very simple prompt. You have to, when you prompt it, it's not a search. It's not like Google search where you're typing in dividend stocks and it's going to bring up websites. You have to say what you're doing. Can you make me a list of, and then give it the criteria, and it will do what you ask it to do. So you can say, different, you can play with the metrics, you can play with different things that you want to look for. But this is one other example of using the tools that are out there now for us to find things that normally people are paying analysts, thousands of dollars to go find this information. I found this within a few seconds.
That's
at least
dope.
10 companies to go start looking at.
Yeah.
To see.
And these are actually companies that I would buy. Like
I did one for REITs too.
Oh, do you have it?
Yeah, let me show it to you. So I did one for REITs, but I used the same criteria. I didn't mess with the criteria. You got that?
Yeah, you say you didn't mess with the criteria?
Yeah, it's the same criteria. So I know you can mess with like cash flow. There are different metrics that you might mess with a REIT on. Are you seeing this now?
Yeah, yep, I see it. So you got Stag,
Prologis, American Tower. So these are all the different companies that came up with those criteria on the REIT side.
Yes. So now, here is one thing that that would make this 30 times would be, set a PE ratio would be FFO.
Okay.
Growth.
Let's do it.
Because we grade REITs based off of the FFO, not the earnings.
Okay, so let's do this.
Now you may get the same stocks.
Right. Here, let's do this.
Because I'm looking at it now, I'm like, yeah, these are Stag. Actually, Stag's been coming back on my radar now as a stock to buy.
Okay, are you seeing this?
Yes, yep, I see you. And also, we're gonna put in a little ad here. Get your Dividend Chasers t-shirts here at investingtshirts.com. So you can fly like the dog here with the Dividend Chasers t-shirt. And if you're chasing dividends out there, I'm pretty sure we all are.
Okay, give me some criteria for REITs real quick. I'll type it in and we'll do a live search.
Let's do 5-year FFO growth. Let's do 5-year dividend growth. Let's do dividend yield 2 to 5%. No, let's do no. Anything above 5. Let's do above 5. Actually, do 2 to 5. Let's just see what it does.
Boom. Didn't change much.
At the top, baby. AMT.
See how long that took? And now it's...
Dude, that's crazy, though. That took literally, like, not even 5 seconds.
Right.
Ooh, you could also adding, like, cash flow, too.
Okay, so now here's so it's learning, right? So use that list and add what's now? Cash flow of between something or just...
Yeah, cash flow. Let's do 10% cash. Let's do cash flow 10%. Let's see.
There you go.
Wow. These are some great REITs here.
Mm-hmm. So anyway,
this is cool. My man's name is Bard.
Yeah, that's right.
Who came up with that name?
I Google.
Imagine someone at Google. That's their position. Just to name it. But yeah, I'm gonna sign up for that.
Yeah, it's free. Just go in there and check it out and play with it. Like I said, I wasn't impressed with it when it came to writing. Like ChatGPT was able to formulate different emails and papers and stuff that I need. But as far as like live search, I think it's really cool to pull in things that you're looking for.
Yeah, no, that's needed, especially for those who are taking an entrepreneurship role. They're consistently looking for what's new on the instant. That's a good way to plug it in to bring some value, because that's all we're looking for nowadays. What value we're looking to gain for ourselves, to give to others, and so on. So,
all right,
that's what makes it all go around. Also, before we get off, I have been buying Uber and Google.
Oh yeah,
growth boys, yeah. So I'm not riding with Neo right now. I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah, they're tough.
Yeah, just tough. So I'm riding with Google and Uber, and then forget LAC.
Oh yeah,
the lithium mining company out in Vegas. The government actually just removed like this huge like bypass law to like let them start working.
All right.
So if the government is like removing stuff, to let them go. So
some
that's like,
non-dividend ideas out there. NEO
yeah,
definitely is suffering from
non-dividends
some
out there.
Chinese controversy between the United States and China. So
yeah,
they
but I'm
need
not
to-
going to forget about NEO now.
No, not at all.
No.
You can't sleep on them, but you got to wait
Please,
for the news to change.
Because the day you sleep on is the day you're going to see it on CNBC. NEO is at $105 today. You're going to be like, what?
Yep. I'm watching the Cardinal game the other night, and we're winning. We're kicking butt. And I tell my brother-in-law, who's a Dodger fan, I'm like, hey, you can't sleep on Freddie Freeman. Boom. He hits his 300th home run. It's a grand slam. Boom. That game got exciting. But anyway, you can't sleep on some things.
Yeah, especially in baseball. Baseball is a quick game to change the feelings quick.
Oh, man, that game was a wild ride, but we ended up winning 18-6 or something. So that's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You guys are doing way better than the Tigers.
Well, we're doing way better than our first month. So it was horrible.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Doug.
All right, man.
It was good catching up with you, my friend.
Yes, guys. It was good catching up with you too, Paul. And also with our listeners out there. We thank you guys for over 2,000 downloads on the podcast. You guys are definitely rocking it out. But I'm almost to 10,000 followers on Twitter too. I'm like 10 away or 30 away or something like that. And shout out to Celsius. Dave is definitely going to love us because we are repping this company. And Texas Roadhouse too. My man's loves him.
He's in with the Texas Roadhouse, man. He's got.
Let me tell you,
biscuits.
If there was a Texas Roadhouse in Chicago nearby, we would have had the conference there. If it was Dave would have done that.
That's funny.
Oh man! But all right, guys, we'll catch you guys on the next podcast on the Investing on a 9 to 5. It is your boy, the Dividend Dog, and Paul Options_Legacy. We will catch you guys on the next one. You guys have a great week. We'll see ya.
Have fun.